What's going on, guys? It's Jake. We're back in for another YouTube video. Today is the big day. We're going to begin to pull the engine out of the 05 to start the journey of, redoing the whole entire engine bay and putting a stronger block in it, bigger turbo, all kinds of good stuff happening down the road. So first, before I go ahead and get started, you guys can tell I already removed the hood and I removed the little trim piece that covers up the wiper motor right here. I'm debating on taking this out. I think I'm definitely gonna take it out right now just to clean this area and then decide if I wanna put it back in. You guys can tell I didn't have the wipers on it anyway, but I'm thinking about never driving this car in the rain. So I'm debating on even keeping it in there at all. I could always just put it back if I wanted to. Also, another little thing before we get started, I wanted to clean up this engine bay as good as possible. Back up in here, we have a brake booster that basically helps you apply the brakes. I was thinking about deleting this booster. It runs off a vacuum from the intake manifold right here, but I pinched off this line to kind of simulate what it would feel like without a brake booster. Now I know some guys are running a little bit different size master cylinder, so that can help you, but I'm really not crazy about the mechanical brakes. So I think I'm gonna have to keep the booster in there. Unfortunately, it's gonna make it look a little more crowded, but I think we can work around it. One of my ideas is to, since this hose barb right here is coming up, obviously that's going to be an eyesore when people are looking at the engine bay. I'm thinking about unbolting the master cylinder, unbolting the brake booster, and then flipping the brake booster 180 degrees. So that way, that little barb fitting where it draws its vacuum will be coming out the bottom. So we could discreetly hide the line going to the new intake manifold. Yes, I said new intake manifold, a little sneak peek there. But without further ado, let's hop into getting the car up on blocks. All right, guys, so I just got done putting the car up on blocks. The reason I did it is because I might be under the car and jack stands are safe, but I think blocks are even safer. Now, as you can see, I have a little bit of rake in it, and that's just because it was more stable that way. I shook the car and it's very stable. So I don't think we'll have any issues with it sitting like this. Now we can get started on the teardown. I'm not gonna give you guys like a full in-depth teardown because obviously this car is modified and you guys won't have the same experience taking apart your car. So I'll go through some of the major stuff that you guys should know, but not gonna cover every single base. So we'll put you guys on a little time lapse. I'm thinking about cleaning this area up here first and then we'll get started. I was just cleaning up this side where the engine bay kind of meets the firewall, and as you can see, got it looking pretty good. There's a couple spots that just won't clean up, but I'm super particular, so you can see how bad that side is. We're gonna have to work on that side, but yeah, we got this side looking really good. I'm one to believe that if you're not gonna do it right, you shouldn't do it at all. So I'm trying to do the best I can, get this thing really clean, and I won't bore you guys with any more time-lapse footage. The next footage you see will be me starting the teardown process. So we got this whole area cleaned out here pretty well. Just about to get started on some of the teardown stuff. I'm thinking about getting the intercooler piping and the intercooler off first, so that way I can get to some more stuff under the intercooler piping to get it all removed. So we're gonna go ahead and get the intercooler piping off and we'll see what we do next. So next I am going to go ahead and drain the coolant out of the radiator and we'll go ahead and pull the radiator out. As you can see, we have Mishimoto top coolant hose. We have the same one down here. Turn my flashlight on. And that is where we're going to drain it. We're probably just going to take it off of the block there and then we're gonna get this thing draining, get the radiator out. So stay tuned, keep you guys up to date. All right guys, real quick, we're gonna take the top hose off, and then we're gonna get these hold downs out of the way, unhook a couple of these coolant vents, and we'll pull the radiator out. Real quick, I wanted to show you guys this tool. It's actually made by Channel Lock, and it's a screwdriver, but you have the Phillips and flat, and you put that in there. That's actually a 5/16 nut driver as well. Then you can pull it off. You have another Phillips and flat, and then this is the 1/4 inch nut driver. And so yeah, this is a very versatile tool. It's both size nut drivers that are most common, and you also have 4 different screwdriver options. So it's actually made by Channel Lock, so if you guys want to check that out. I'm not sponsored by them, but just trying to get you all on. So we're gonna go ahead and get all this stuff off, and then we'll get a video pulling the radiator out, and yeah, we'll keep you guys up to date. Stay tuned. All right guys, so I got the 2 connectors that plug into the fan shroud. I got them unhooked. We got the top radiator hose off. We got the bottom one off. It's dripping now from the engine, and I expect it to drip for a little while. The power steering line is gonna inhibit us a little bit from getting this out, but it won't be too bad. There's 2 rubber grommets in the bottom that it's stuck on right now, but we'll just wiggle it like this. You'll see. So we got it loose now. Now it's just this power steering. It's actually really tight on a Forester. Seems like it's a little, we got this AC line as well. It's a little tighter on a Forester than it is a regular Impreza. So I was having some trouble getting the rad out, and I've never had this much trouble getting out. So I took all the top coolant hose off all the way, and this oil cooler actually, when Andrew Tech put this in here, they went all the way through the radiator. These are basically radiator wire ties or AC unit wire ties, and when I sent that to them, it only was through the AC condenser, so that way you could get the radiator out without cutting the oil cooler off. But they did it that way. Another problem I'm finding, but we're gonna work through all this. I'm gonna go ahead and get these little wire ties cut, or the oil cooler may be hanging now, but then we'll get the radiator out. So now we can get it out. All right, figured out the problem. I'm just gonna sit this like this for a minute, let it drain out all the way into my bucket, all that I can. And we're likely, well, we might put this back in the car. A lot of people put these back in the car after they pull the engine, just because they don't want it to drip everywhere. So we might do that. I have a lot of work to do in the engine bay, so I'm not really sure. But next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and get the alternator and the drive belts up front here off. That's why I took the radiator out, so we had some good access to this stuff. So yeah, we probably won't get too much more done here today. I've been here for about 3 or 4 hours. I might come back and fool the low bore tonight. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this intake off. This is APS 70mm. I'm pretty sure that's what they call it. And I have it running under the fender here. So I'm gonna take this stuff off, take that off. That'll give us a little more room right here. And yeah, then we'll start on this front part here. So I'm getting this APS intake off here. This is like a really tight fit. Like extremely tight. So we got that out. I do plan on getting all this out of here and making a bigger hole here, and then putting some type of weather stripping around it, just so then the new intercooler piping won't have to go through one of these small holes. We're gonna get rid of this also. But yeah, we got the APS intake out. We got the where it goes down through the fender. So this is a super nice intake. Any of you guys still using the stock location turbo? And when I sell it, I'm gonna include, look, got my hand a little messed up here, but I'm gonna include the boot that goes from here to this, which will work on any inlet, not just the FP black inlet. And we also have this little adapter piece here. So that's kind of like what your intake's looking like if you want to pick this thing up. But yeah, super good. Draws air from down under the fender well. So got this wet sock on it so it can't draw any water. Yeah, all good stuff here. We're gonna keep digging. Stay tuned. All right guys, we're back on the night shift a little bit. It's only 6:45, but we're gonna get a couple more things done to the car here tonight. First thing I'm gonna do is get this little coolant reservoir off. That's the expansion tank. We're not gonna be using that for the new setup. And also I'm gonna get the power steering off of it, fold it to the side, get the alternator off, and get the AC off. And actually, we're not gonna be using the AC either, so I might bleed it out and then take the lines off so then I can get it completely out of the way, but not quite sure yet. But we'll let you guys see it on a little time lapse here, and then that will probably conclude the video for today. So we made it pretty far. I'll catch up with you guys when we get those last couple things off for tonight. Yeah, we got all the hoses off for the air oil separator. We're about to take that off. We got the expansion tank off for the cooling. We got the power steering off, alternator off, AC off. Yeah, we just been grinding, taking hoses off everywhere. I actually plugged up the power steering hoses. That one, this one, took out the power steering reservoir. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this air oil separator off here, and then we'll see what we can do next, but we're pretty much finished. I need that 10 milli. Alright, get this off. Man, this is one thing I hate about air oil separators. It's such a mess. All these lines, but nonetheless, got her off. That just cleans up the engine bay so much. Alright, what is next? I guess I'm gonna get this heat shield off the turbo here, and then we can start pulling the turbo off maybe, or pulling the downpipe off. We'll see, but stay tuned. Alright guys, currently the next day. Like you guys saw last night, we got a lot of the stuff out. We got the air oil separator out. We got all the some other miscellaneous things out of here, but this is where we're gonna end the video for part 1 of the engine teardown. Hopefully in the next video we can get the engine actually out. I mean, there isn't too much more work left to do. So yeah, if you guys like the video, make sure you like, subscribe. We'll catch you guys in part 2.